The Lotoshino settlement lies 160 kilometers north of Moscow, on the border between Moscow and Tver regions. The settlement's name itself comes from the Russian word lot, as in to sell or trade in lots. The symbol on the regional coat of arms and on the flag is of a tradesman holding a lot or tray. Lotoshino was previously known for its trade fair. Initially, it was famous for its flaxseed. English merchants were especially interested in flax, and they employed special agents in the town solely to buy it here. Market traders also sold grain, leather, wool, meat and livestock at the fair. But today, the Lotoshino fair has no particular commodity to boast of. Now all of the goods on sale are imported. However, you can still buy handmade local goods, including traditional Russian felt boots called valenki. There's always a great demand for this type of footwear in nearby villages because they're warm and cheap. Every weekend, Sergei rolls the felt for the valenki in his specially equipped workshop. He inherited the business from his father and grandfather. Today, he's the only person in the village who knows how to make these felt boots. The younger generation isn't interested in this particular trade. People who can still make valenki by hand are few and far between.
I'm now the only one here that rolls such felt boots. You can't go without valenki in the winter. This is not the United States. It's warmer over there.
People have always worn valenki in Russia during the harsh, cold winters. This extremely warm footwear is made of coarse wool. To turn the wool into valenki, the threads are relaxed, kneaded, plucked and soaked in boiling water. Then it's firmly pressed and packed into the required shape. Special tools are used during this process, which are also handmade. High-quality valenki are made only from sheep's wool, which is clipped in the autumn. Around 1.5 kilograms of wool and 3 or 4 hours' labour go into just one pair of valenki.
The toe of the boot is always enlarged, as if it were a ball. See how it looks? Now we're going to implant it. And the boot is ready. After the water drains off, we'll place it on the hot stove. We'll dry them out, and you can start wearing them tomorrow.
During the weekend, Sergei usually makes 4 to 5 pairs of valenki. He has plenty of customers and his waiting list stretches for months.
Come see us again and send us more people that need valenki.
This is an old and historic settlement. It dates back to the 15th century. The Russian Tsars passed through Lotoshino to reach the cities of Novgorod and Tver. That's why this settlement forms part of what was called the Tsars or Royal Road. As a major trading town, Lotoshino is the centre for 19 surrounding villages and 8 districts, which later formed the Lotoshino region. Some 18,000 people live in this territory today. The area has always been famous for its traders and local crafts, particularly sleighs and wicker baskets. Today, the local museum boasts a matchless collection of 18th century items.
When we were preparing to open the museum in 1968, we had to work a lot, of course, to search attics and basements and collect old peasant items.
This loom is the pride of the museum. In olden times, it was used to make carpets. It was found in the basement of a house in the suburbs of the settlement. Unfortunately, the loom doesn't work because some of its parts are missing.
Here it is. Some parts are missing. We'd love to show how it works to the visitors of the museum. Of course, we'll make it work eventually. One old woman is going to show us how to operate it.
Yet this area is famed for its flax, which is grown and treated locally. It's even exported to other countries. Flax production is a labour-consuming business. After After being harvested, it's sent to a factory to be dried and stripped of its seeds. It's then separated into several different types of flax. Each has a unique quality which can be recognized by skilled workers with their bare hands. This is why manual labor still plays a big part in flax production today.
You'll probably think that she's simply picking stems from a huge pile and putting them into another smaller pile. Actually, she's making money for our factory. The price of each stalk and every fiber depends on how she sorts them out. She always works without gloves, barehanded. Using her fingers, she feels first of all the softness of the fiber, its flexibility, oiliness, weight, fluffiness, and whether or not it's lumpy. All of these things have a direct effect on the spinning process.
Flax fibers are used to make beautiful and expensive consumer goods. Lotoshino is also famous because at one time this land belonged to the Mashirsky princes, a renowned noble family in Russia. At the beginning of the 19th century, Lotoshino became the cultural centre for the landed gentry and was frequented by well-known artists, musicians and poets. It's said that even Alexander Pushkin, the great Russian poet, came here, although there is no documentary evidence to suggest this is true. Yet there are people in Lotoshino that have little doubt the famous poet was a regular visitor.
I live in Russia, and I believe that geniuses live in my country. Pushkin, Andrei Rublev and Mendeleev, all of them were geniuses.
Boris Zhivatov is a retired teacher who believes Pushkin really did visit Lotoshino. He showed us an old oak tree which, in his opinion, inspired Pushkin, and he recited lines from his poems as proof.
I thoroughly inspected this oak tree, and I considered that it played witness to Pushkin, because it's very old, about 200 years. To be sure, many disagree. They don't believe me. Many still don't even think that Pushkin was here. Even if this oak tree is not a direct descendant, but grew out of a young acorn, it's still related to Pushkin, because he visited these places many times. He would always come to this oak tree, show his calling card, and recite, "Near the cove stands a mighty green oak tree."
Boris Zhivatov explained his position in detail in a book which is simply called Pushkin and Lotoshino. The book provoked much debate amongst the settlement residents. A special meeting was held where the author had to defend his work in public.
Let me tell you that unless you agree he was in Lotoshino, you have to indicate where exactly he was. Because Pushkin had to be somewhere and be doing something on that day.
Life in this settlement doesn't stop even for a moment. In the local House of Culture, lessons are held all day long for those who are willing to learn how to sing, play musical instruments, draw and paint on wood. Every Tuesday and Thursday, an amateur dancing group called Ivushka has rehearsals here. The group has already existed for 20 years. It's toured all across Russia and even visited other countries like Bulgaria and former Yugoslavia.
Open your mouth, show your teeth, show them. If you don't have teeth, it's even more interesting.
Yelena Uvarova is the permanent manager of the group. She's taught more than one generation of professional performers. She thinks you can teach anyone to dance if they have the desire to learn.
We have teachers and a coach and medics. Who else do we have in our group? We have salespeople and students and future choreographers.
The members of the group are different ages and from different professions. Each one of them has their own main job, but their love for dancing unites them. On the second floor of the House of Culture is a local amateur choir called Dusha, or Soul. They're rehearsing before their performance at the traditional spring feast called Maslenitsa.